And here we go with the Kansas City Chiefs. As you can see, they have some pretty particular talented positions there. Eli Manning, the superstar, 87 overall. He is a solid quarterback here in this league, and he's backed up by Caleb Haney at this time. He had Patrick Ramsey before, but Manning has not had many injury struggles. They do have Marshawn Lynch, and I was close to letting him go because the Chiefs were on track to fire Dick LeBeau and maybe even move on from Manning and Lynch and have a new head coach. But then last year, they made a final push, and they made it into the playoffs, and they made it fairly far. If I recall, I think they made it to the AFC Championship game. I guess I could probably look back and confirm that. But what we saw there with the Chiefs was this rise of that they finally got it together. Marquise Colston did fantastic in the playoffs. Colston had like 3 touchdowns in like the wild card game. Then they signed Roddy White this year from Seattle. They also have Nate Washington, Austin Collie. But adding Roddy White gives Eli Manning a second true receiver to throw to other than just Colston. Dallas Clark was a free agent signing a few years back because the team he used to be with the Minnesota Vikings, but the Vikings at the time with Culpepper had so much talent with Randy Moss and some of these other receivers that the tight end was getting overlooked. And so Dallas Clark is still an X factor, as you can see, 82 overall. He's now getting old because we're now in the 2020, the 2010-ish year. But you see the left tackle on the offensive line. They got Bushrod, Brian Waters, who's getting pretty old, Mike Pollock, Chris Myers, Phil Lodeholt. So a solid offensive line. When you have 3 out of the 5 being in the 80s plus, that's always great to see. And as we move over to the defensive side of the game, we see Tyson Jackson and then their rookie Jason Pierre-Paul. Their first round pick there, the 29th overall selection. Pierre-Paul dropped way farther than I thought he would. Then you have Domata Pico and Gabe Watson on that interior line. Pico really developing nicely for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a 4th round pick back in 2006. They signed veteran Keith Bullock. We'll see how long he stays. I mean, he's older, but he gives them that veteran presence when trying to make a playoff run. Lofa Tatupu, who was in real life with the Seahawks, but he was an addition here with the... I don't even think he was with the Chiefs. Let me double check if I drafted him or if I signed him. Let me see. Yeah, he might. I think I drafted him somewhere else. But then there's also Nick Roach, who's on the left outside linebacker. Let's see. I'm actually going to search the Tupu here in my database. Yeah, Tatupu went to the Minnesota Vikings, and then he found a home here with the Chiefs. Sorry, that was just bugging me. I wanted to make sure I got all the facts right. Now, the Chiefs were one of the top defensive back teams. Look at that. Tim Jennings, 92 overall superstar. Jonathan Joseph, 87 superstar cornerback. They also had Nate Clements, who was an 82, 84 overall, and he was at least star depth. So they do let Clements go because they were already loaded at cornerback. So they do sign Kelly Jennings. But this is a solid defensive back core for the Chiefs. When you have 3 cornerbacks above 84, and now we have 2 that are probably top of the league, as well as with Kelly Jennings. You had Roy Williams, free safety, and Tavon Branch. They have a lot of talent here on this defensive backs. That is their strength. In the offseason, notice they kind of downgraded their 3rd cornerback, but they picked up with Pierre-Paul being that pass rusher that they haven't really had. Tyson Jackson's been decent for them. He was where was Tyson Jackson? Was last year's 1st round pick. So they have 2 1st round picks on that defensive front, and we'll see how much havoc they cause me when I play against them. And then as for special teams, they have the gold punter, 88 overall, Dustin Colquitt, and Ryan Suckup. So will the Kansas City Chiefs under Dick LeBeau and Eli Manning make it back to the playoffs and have a run for the Super Bowl? You tell me what you think their record might be. They do have a shockingly high amount of talent on this team, and it's always fun looking forward to playing with them in this franchise.